Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to my live. So today we're gonna talk. Well, for maybe an hour or so, we are going to discuss something, right? So the topic we're going to be talking about, or should I talk about, which is based on my opinion. Yes, that's my opinion. I didn't really interview anybody or whatever, so whatever I say is basically my opinion. So the question I'm asking is, should parents be held responsible for children? Let me say bad behavior. If I say behavior, maybe you might not understand. But let me say bad behavior. All right. So welcome to my live, guys. If it's your first time coming, welcome. If you subscribe to my channel, welcome. If you don't subscribe, I still welcome you. And if you're just passing through, let me welcome you and thank you so much, guys, for coming. Don't be afraid to give me your honest opinion, but you don't have to be too, yeah. You don't have to be too rude, I should say, if yeah. But you can just give me your opinion, your honest opinion, right, guys? So, okay, guys, welcome again. And if you're first time joining my live, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome. If you're just passing through, welcome. So the topic that I'm going to be talking about, or we are going to be talking about, is, should parents be held responsible for their children act or behavior? In this case, I'm talking about children who behave bad, whether it's at school or in at school or in the public, right? As you know, or let me say, there are times when Charlie, there are times when children behave bad to a point where they have to be removed from an institution, or they have to be removed from the family, or they are being placed in state care because of, oh, the child might behave. I love you too. Highly of, oh, the child might behave. So because, and this is my opinion, because the children are maybe more children than normal is behaving in a way in which it's too much to be handled. So I guess they want to limit the amount of child or children misbehaving, so they want to put laws in place for children or students who behave in such a way which is not fit, or which society doesn't accept, right? So the law is that, and the law is that if a child misbehave or behave certain way, that it's lead to laws being enforced, then the parents is supposed to pay pay for the child, right? And I guess the child may be under 18. Well, I think that's a debatable topic because you can say yes and you can say no. Why a parent should be charged or why a parent should not be charged for a child behavior. My point of view is that I think if the child is a child like a minor, like maybe less than 12, yeah, maybe a primary school child, I think maybe they don't might understand. Some children understand, but may I say, some children don't really understand. And it doesn't matter how you preach to the child. If the child no kind of have that support there, I just think say the child maybe just I go be a certain way. That's how me think, right? Alright, so for instance, if the child is less than 12, bear in mind you have children who are less than 12 years of age who behave or should I say mature. So I can understand that, but there are children or child who is less than 12 and they don't really act their age, or maybe because of what they're going through in life or at home it kind of hard for them to relate, so they tend to react, or should I say lash out, right? Then again, if the child doesn't have that kind of background or that kind of supportive parents, then I think that you're just gonna misbehave. And then again, if it's a single parent's home, yes. If the child has lost their parents or has lost somebody that they love, for instance, if they lost the mother or they lost a father, which was attached to them in a way, then I think the child might behave a certain way. And I think the problem is as adults, sometimes we don't understand. We don't really pay certain changes in our child life. We don't really take up certain things, and we just say maybe the child not have no manners, him not behave himself and all these things. And then again, when you're at a home, when there are more than how much children. All right, as a what remember this anyway. All right, so when you're in a home where you have good amount of children there, and kind of frustrated to deal with more than one, maybe six, or depends on how many children are there. And when you have all these type of children at home to deal with, children with different behavior, behavioristic, it kind of hard for a single parent or even parents themselves to go down to the nitty gritty to analyze what is it the child is going through, because I would assume that the parents might believe that they have other things to do than to dwell into a child behavior, like for example to pay their bills, or they're going to find food, they're not working, they don't know where the next money is coming from, like things like those. Or maybe if it's a parent who like to buy hair and nails, I think their main concern is always it that I'm going to achieve whatever I want, so whatever it is that you know they think is their first priority. They don't have any time for children, and children are misbehave. If children are misbehave, them just you know mind their own business. I think we're living in an age where tablets and the internet has become so much that it kind of help to kind of hide some of our hidden the hidden behavior that you know, things that you're supposed to face, so things that you're supposed to deal with. It's just like you just shoot it under the carpet and say, all right, let it stay there, right? So if a child is misbehaving in this time and age, the first thing the mother might do, or the parents or the guardian, is like turn on the TV, go and go watch the TV. Or they might say, go on outside, go run up and down and play. Or them send you over your neighbor yard, if you go, if there's a child over there, depends, they send you over there to go and play. Or sometimes they might send you to the shop, depends, whatever it is. But one of the main things is that they might give them a tablet. So they give them a tablet and the child is there stuck in the tablet, watching the tablet, like maybe the whole day. And I think these children are so intelligent, like very intelligent, like you might be wondering. People that what me are telling about, yeah, they hard to deal with. Jesus, boy, those what did I say again? But they are very distracted, you understand me? No man understand when you're in our room and you're trying to. No man understand why them say like when you're at church, you have to just sit down in a church and just listen to what the pastor say, because every time you get up to go outside is like the person who is talking is just like you kind of shift their mood. So that's why maybe like when in a classroom, teacher say, sit down one place. I know, because every time the child get up, I have a call to the child. It's just like it kind of straight from the topic that the teacher was teaching, and maybe it was something very important. Yeah, she was going to say, but because you have a child, maybe disrupt the class, then you realize that, yeah. Alright, but never remember me, that's it. So I'm going to move on to something else. Alright, yes. So, welcome to my life, guys. So, the topic I'm talking about tonight, alright, now is, should parents be held responsible for their children act or for their children behavior? Right. Alright. So what led to this? Why they want to charge parents for children behavior? I just think it could be many factors. I think the children are misbehaving. You have children out there doing things that they're not supposed to do, and you have children doing things that we would say is only not adults would it's only adults would expect to do these things. They don't really expect a child to behave a certain way, right? You're doing an adult behavior. So if you behave like an adult, if you do the crime of an adult, then you should pay the adult's time, right? So you're a child, so the the law won't allow you to be charged as an adult. You're a minor, so they can't charge you for certain things. So they would put you in children facility, right, where you might juvenile center, where you might stay there until you become an adult. Then when you reach an adult, um you are you are transported to prison. Yeah, if I'm right. Yes. All right. So what might cause a child to behave certain? So why do they want to charge the parents? I think because children might be disrupting class. So there are days when teacher might in the class and the teacher won't be able to do the lesson because of the child repetitive behavior. And it doesn't matter how you might talk to the child, it's like the child is not listening because they have other motive besides maybe they only come to school because their parents send them to school, and you might call it social behavior. So then if you send the child to the dean of discipline, chances are the dean of discipline might be disciplining for something different from what he's going through. So maybe if you send a child to a guidance counselor, and bear in mind, if you have numerous children in the school going through different types of behavior, then if there's one guidance counselor in the school, if you have a population of maybe 1,000 or 500, I don't think the guidance counselor will be able to attend to everybody, So I think maybe the guidance counselor will choose the critical ones, or the one that they think is as exceed, the child or the children behavior. Right. So it starts with the child maybe misbehaving in class or misbehaving at home, and it kind of reach a stage where you realize the behavior is getting out of control, and then the child begins to lash out. Each time you talk to the child, the behavior is very negative, and it reaches a point where you can't talk to the child, or the child become rebellious, or maybe the child back answer you, or maybe they want to abuse you, as in physically. So you realize then this is getting out of hand. But the moment you realize that you cannot really talk to a child, then I think then that's the time when the parents should get help or seek help, right? All right. All right. So there are children who just get suspension. Well, maybe when they get the first suspension, maybe it might feel like something bad. And then again, a child maybe don't just get suspension at first. You maybe get something, I don't, maybe demerit or other mark, whatever I don't know what each school call it, but the school that I went to, they call it other mark. You get the other mark, and then you maybe go to the teacher and tell the teacher, say, if you, if the person can remove the other mark from off your file, and then you realize you get a next one, and you're like, oh, it's no big deal. Then I find that like this misbehaving or disrupting class is the way to go. You get other mark, maybe 3 other mark lead to a suspension. All right. So there are children who I assume they get suspension, and their parents don't know that they get suspension. And you might say, oh, why? But you have some children, I don't know if I should say they're very intelligent. They just do things, and then in whatever they think. And then you have some people, they get suspension, they're at home, they get up in the morning, do the regular routine, and leave for school. You might ask if the parents don't check up. Well, bear in mind that some parents is not going to, some parents don't bet about Pitney. That's a point blank. They have a next set of parents. They don't really have time to go to school, which they should, but they don't really. But in real life, you have things to do. Like for instance, you have to go to work, and then again, if you're gonna get paid to go to work, then nobody is gonna allow you. Well, you could maybe ask, depends on the type of relationship you have with the boss. You could maybe ask if I can go to the school to check up on the child. But why would you want to go to school to check up on a child when you don't know? In your mind, you're saying that the child is a good behaving child. So sometimes, like when it's report there, when PT, as I said before, you have parents who don't turn up to school to find out what it is your child is doing, because maybe they have to go to work, and then the job itself doesn't allow you to 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 stay away from the work, because if you stay away from the work, maybe you're there, so chances are they're going to take out the money out of your pay, and the little tip of money where you get, You can't allow your boss to take out the money out of your pay. So because of that, now you make it slide through. So you don't really go to school, go find out where your pitney are going to do at school. Right. So you have children who get suspension and their parents don't know. Why they don't know is because they don't find out. They don't take the time to find out, and the child doesn't come home. There's no communication taking place. So the child never come home and say, Mommy, some get suspension. For example, that time come home and tell some parents you get suspension. So that's our next reason why the child might not tell the mother or the father say, so me get suspension because that is a definitely. What you're wrong, sitting wrong with you. Oh yes, say get with suspension, but it's not easy. After your mother works so hard, you can't come and tell the mother why you get suspension. Something wrong with you. So you have some child, some parents that just don't communicate because sometimes in real life they are so tired, and sometimes when they come home, the most thing can do maybe cook, and guard them better. That's just so the routine go. Or sometimes maybe when the child goes to school, the parents is at home, and when the child comes home, the parents gone to work, so they have night shift. So you don't have that kind of communication taking place. And also, you have parents. The child gets suspension. Maybe they're at home or maybe they're working, and the child might tell the auntie or a friend or somebody close to them other than their parents say, say me get suspension or something like that. And principal or teacher want to see you. So you must come. So you realize say somebody else will come. I got the school for the child, which is not the mother, and so pretty, you have children that get expelled out of school and their mother don't know, you know, because they know, as I said, they not take the time, and when the teacher, the principal call in to see, when the principal or the teacher call in to talk to the parents, they sometimes, you have, I'm say I have some parents who claim to be very busy or too busy. Hey, dog, shallow. How would his father? Yes, so you have some parents kind of busy, so then I say, for instance, if anything I go in a school, they might go send, for instance, their cousin or so. And sometimes, let me say cousin. The cousin and the child is friend. So if anything bad I go in a school, them not go tell the mother. You understand me? They not go tell the mother. So the mother don't know certain things sometime, or when they go to school and you realize say say your parent get almost suspension, or say your child get expelled from school, and then might say how, when, where, and the teacher or the principal might say, but me calling you several times and you come, and you're like, no, it's the first you're hearing about this, and you're like no, you understand me? You understand me? Say I have children out there that who get suspension and them parents don't know, because you have children out there when, for instance, they go to fill out the form. Like each year when you go to register, then they ask you more time for a contact number. So sometimes they might write, haha, they might write maybe their cousin number or somebody else number. So when the principal or the teacher might contact, so them get, for instance, the cousin or somebody, but not the parents. And by time the parents supposed to find out what is going on, I would say the ass gone through the gate. You understand me? That you have some children. You have some children. You have some teacher. Some children. Like when the school decides to them tired of you. Like, let me say what me say now. Like when them say, alright, enough is enough, and them say, alright, the school won't be able to take you back. There's nothing you can do. And you have some children where them get transferred from because of them behavior, them leave one school to the other school to the other school. Then we realize that sometimes no school at all no want them because of them behavior. Give me your opinion. What you talking about? The topic is should parents be held responsible for their children act or behavior? Because your government say them are going to put one act in place for the pitney them when not behave themselves. Them are going to put one act in place for the children where misbehave or do certain kind of crime. Them are going to charge the parents for it. So whatever, one. All of a sudden you want to sleep. Normally you got your bed 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night. No, you want to sleep. Bye. Take care of yourself. I hope you sleep, you go sleep with you because everything you do, make sure you set up one camera in your room. So anything when you're doing in your room, me see my yard and see. So when we come back for my life next time, I can tell her what you did really go do. Okay. Can't say me never warn you. Can't say me never warn you. Yes. Oh, this one. Yes, as I was saying, you have some children, them get themselves in a whole heap of trouble. And when them call in the parents, all right, bye, sweetie. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of good body. Hey, see you again. And thanks for stopping by. One of the day I'm come over your channel. When I have time, come watch a couple of videos. Yeah, as I was saying, you have children that get themselves into lots of trouble, and when they call in the parents, a next family member comes to represent the child, and before you know it, they get themselves out of the school because most of the time the real parents didn't know that the child was giving so much, should I say, problem at school, right? Yes. So, all right. So you have gangs and so at school, and sometimes you have some friend that say, children these nowadays, most of them they don't know how to solve any little thing. If any little thing happen, the the first thing they're ready to do is to fight, right? And that is not normally the best way out. Why I say that's not normally the best way out? Because you don't know what it is that the next person is planning for. You don't know what is it that they have in mind to do. So it's not like one time when you're in a person as whatever, you could fix it out. No, them my children, they might have weapon I carry go to school. Pen, knife, gun, you name it, them have it. And I just say, oh there, them say me ready. Yeah. And if you and from time to time you watch the news or even on social media, and the fight that these children fight at school is no regular fight, right? It's no regular fight, you understand me? It's no regular fight. And you realize sometimes one of the person might lose their life, or a next person might end up in the hospital, or somebody might get a disability because the extent of the behavior of these children. Yeah. So that is one of the reasons why I think the government want to charge the parents for the children behavior. But I don't know. I think it's a half and half. I don't think you can charge the parents if you don't know exactly what the child is doing. You can't charge the parent. But then again, the government might be saying that if it's your child, you're supposed to get involved in your child life. But what I'm saying that what happened to the parents then? We talk to them children and talk and talk and talk and talk. And they just decide, say, them are gonna do this. Yes, say if talking now work, if a child want next method. And then you have some parents where maybe have it rough, and like them I say, reach a point which part I'm not sure me for do with that child. And yeah, say, them say to somebody, say, say me really want help. And them look upon you like if you're crazy, if I don't feel picking you. You understand me? So when you really need help and you talk to persons about you wanting the help, they be like, and like when things get out of hand, you hear them attack say, saying you really want help for true. I mean, like, come on. When a person say they want help, if you can't help the person because them children, nowadays are not normal children. Something have to ask yourself, say, what could have caused all of this? You understand me, Dark Shadow? You understand me, say? These children are not normal children, right? They go beyond. And sometimes even them guardians or them mother, they react certain way to that. Them just don't care behavior. Yeah. Like if I did what they call it, the third generation, this a generation that don't care. As I hear some old people are say, they don't want to get which part of the point, which parts them lie down in a them bed because it's a young generation. Maybe now go assist them, right? Then again, I gotta say, teach the children them for the good things or positive things. Yeah, you have parents out there where might teach their children for the good things. But what happens when they go out in the real world and they realize that me I the only one that behave like this? Them are going to behave, you know, for 15. Hello, my friend. From where? But easy. When me go for bring, give me up sweet around there some for you. I saw what gummy bear me have. You want to eat some gummy bear? Me hear one little boy I tell what old lady say. The old lady said to him say, he must bring back sweetie for him, and the little boy I tell the old lady say, if sweetie we take out in teeth. So are you are you if you eat the sweetie we take out your teeth. I know why you lose no more teeth that way you have in your head. So me not give you no sweetie if you take out your teeth. Yes. As I was saying, yes. Yeah, these children are not normal children because when they go, hear them so, say, on them YouTube, I listen me. You see them picture. You know, realize that the younger version of me that, see me as a old lady now. That's from which year? Remember which year that? It must be about 5 years ago. See them me tell me belly kind of flat. See say, oh, my belly big right now. Sometimes my belly big, me have to wonder what me can use to rub down my belly. Look at the picture good and look say, if I look good, it's say I know me. I never did go away. So sometimes I just go out with myself and sometimes I just nothing. Just nothing. Nothing. Just for nothing at all. I just go out with myself for nothing at all. I just picture one picture I did that take I just did out with it. I just carry the suitcase, go per road and take a picture. Nothing at all. I know me not go foreign. I not even have visa for go foreign. I must hold me and show me back. Show me how one place which part grass not even grow. My master, take me a girlfriend and then me can manage over there. And I don't have no neighbor there to go over there, go beg them nothing. They don't must get no job neither. I never go nowhere. I just keep up a suitcase up on my yard and care about good on my yard. Same like how I keep up a suitcase and see when I care them. It's a empty suitcase, not in it. What? That's why sometimes I don't know people bad mind people, cause maybe they think say me all gone somewhere and I want big old empty suitcase. Me have not a thing no in there. Cause when pack up my suitcase, come up a road to go take pictures. So as some that haggle, not a thing no in the suitcase. I don't take a picture me carry on back the suitcase. I think God have done it. Look here, you have to work with YouTube. Last time me I work with YouTube tell me say me post that picture them we get subscribers and view. I me I work with them for now until when me come for my live and me and myself talk. So they might give me little subscribers and also me I work with YouTube. You have to just understand the algorithm. I'm realizing when I put up the two picture there, make people watch them. But when me turn up in front of their phone, nobody not come. They might say, oh, are she? Are she? I said, no, and she. Same hold me. Yeah, but just work. Then I say, girl room, I go, yeah. When the girl room, I do what the romans them do. Anyway, yes, as I was saying. So you have children that go to school and they try to fit in so they will join gang, right? When I think no, nobody no want join no positive gang, cause if the gang are do positive things, them don't want to join the gang. But as long as them say bad things, they go and want to join the gang them. Okay, guys. So as I was saying before, should parents be held responsible for their children act? All right. So why I'm looking at some of the reason why they want to hold parents responsible because of the children behavior, right? So they're gonna put this law in place. So if the children behave a certain way, then you're gonna be held for whatever they do, right? But the question I'm asking is, what if the parents do not know that this is the type of behavior or this is the way their child is behaving, or this is the type of behavior that they carry on when they're not at home? then one might say you should know. But then again, in real life, sometimes we don't know everything and the things that we should know. And sometimes when communication has broken down, or when you and your child doesn't have that kind of relationship, then certain things might slip through the hole, and then by the time you're supposed to, you know, you realize that it's all done. Alright. So the next point is when the child begin to do illegal things. You know, you have some children after they get so. I don't think children just get up and do illegal things. I think after the child begin to go to school and maybe they start getting suspension and maybe they get expelled or maybe they distant or maybe the parents just can't afford it to go to school, then you might find that the child begin to do illegal things, right? And then by doing illegal things, you know, you kind of get caught up with certain things and you realize, say, you maybe don't want to go back to school, right? And then you realize, okay, then that's where school ends. All right, so when a child begin to indulge in sexual behavior, you can see the changes. If you look, you will see the changes and realize that things has changed. But as I said before, you have, you know, parents, you know, get caught up, you know, into themselves, trying to maybe do them or to try to comfort themselves. So you realize that, you know, certain things might bypass. Hey guys, welcome to my life. So by the time you're supposed to get older on certain things, you realize that, you know, the child might be saying like, where were you when I was going through my struggles? Where have you been? You didn't try to reach out to me. You never asked me how I was doing. You never asked me how I was cool. But then again, so parents might think that because the child doesn't say anything, then everything is okay. And then when you have to work sometime, it and come home, you know, other things might get occupied, like things that are more important. So you realize that you're not really in your child life like that. So you realize that the child might do certain things and you don't know. Guys, you can't give me no input, you know. I mean, you can't give me an input if you know what I'm talking about. Alright, so the child begin to do crime. So right, I just think that sometimes when the child doesn't have proper parenting, then they tend to do crime. And then sometimes I think it's kind of hard to do crime and then to act like it's, you know, it's okay, because when you begin to do certain things and you find your behavior, you know, it just kind of act different, like certain things you don't really care about anymore, and like you'd be like, you know, so it doesn't really matter what your parents want to say, because you say, all right, this is me, then you realize that, okay, and this is where I want to be, so you find yourself comfortable. And sometimes when you find your parents like begin to talk to you, you realize that maybe you don't pay them any mind, or you go about your business, and sometimes for days you not show up, right? And then sometimes I think the parents, maybe I think when a child begins to misbehave or begin to do certain things, and sometimes, to be honest, I think sometimes, I know it's not right, but I think sometimes the parents them kind of love their children, so they don't report certain things or they don't say certain things, right? So when they don't say certain things, then certain things just kind of slip through, right? You're not going to report your son because your son is doing certain things. Because first of all, you know that the child is a minor or whatever. You know that it's you they're gonna all and pull. And then again, many things say I don't believe that no parents would want their child to go to juvenile center unless something must have went wrong why you maybe don't want that child, right? Maybe the father wasn't taking care of the child and then just, or whatever the difference is that, chips in, you realize that you don't really want this child around. But any mother will really like their child and where you know say you pick that's whatever. You don't really want the law all and pull the child. So I just think that maybe that's one of the next reason why you have so many children doing bad things until they maybe reach adult. It kind of hard for them to stop and then things happen. So whichever way kind of hard for the parents because no parents, as I said, wouldn't want to give up their child because the child is doing something bad, right? So, and then sometimes the children behavior might kind of be off, and you like wonder what happened to him, and then you have some time when you just think you can manage, and you just allow the child to behave certain way because you just think say, if I ignore the behavior, maybe I go calm down, and then sometimes that's what the child want. They want you to kind of load them up so they can do things. So when they do things, they know say, alright, they say, alright, my mother no busy with me and my father, I can do what I want. And so them begins to make decision which maybe it's not the best decision, but they make decision and then in the end, you know, you hear them and say, oh, you never growing picnic good and blah 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 blah. You understand me? So I just think whichever way I think it's kinda hard for parents. Alright, so why I said no, parents should not be charged is because I think if the child have sense, when I say have sense, if the child know what he's doing and know that is right, and if you talk to the child and the child decides him now go change, right? And you say, alright, and you say, Jamaican say, then wash your hand off for you. Me no think say the parents be charged. And then me know some parents will have it hard with the child and they say them want help and they no get no help. So when the child start do certain things now, that's the time when they try to care about the child, and it already gone bad. They have some parents, they have a child and the child is not behaving. And you talk go and you talk come and you talk go and you talk come. And the more you talk, them say you're online, and you this, and you chat too much. And then through sometime, you don't want your neighbor to know what going over your yard. You don't want your neighbor to know what going over your yard. So you just keep down your voice. Yes, sometimes when sometimes have some parents, you talk to the child and them a behave like them a big man or them a big woman. Right? And sometimes you know why your neighbor to hear the kind of behavior what going over your house. Excuse me. So because of that no, you kinda keep a low key or a low profile. You understand me? Alright, so sometimes the parents might know that the child is not behaving, but they turn a blind eye because maybe they think they have other important things to deal with, right? And then I think sometimes when you have the children them young, you kind of think that the child might be your sister or your brother, so you kind of treat them like your sister or your brother. Or if for one child you have, you normally realize that you kind of treat that child as special. But if you have like two or so, you realize, say, you have to maybe split certain things. So you find yourself maybe, you know, try to balance things. But the one child thing, most of the time, then children is spoil, and especially if a boy picnic, you realize that sometimes if you say you do things, you make it just like you and say, oh, I'm a one boy. And sometimes if you're not careful, sometimes they picnic they rule you. So it kind of hard. So the next point would be a single mother. As a single mother, sometimes as a single mother, sometimes it very frustrating because sometimes if for instance if you're at home and the child hear this deep male voice, them tend to want to open at themselves. No, not to get me wrong, you have mothers out there with, I would say, grow their children good and then really or behave themselves and they don't really have that father figure there for whatever reason. But then again, maybe the child might maybe not communicate with the mother that effective because first of all them I say I can't tell my mother certain things. So you realize say maybe that child grew up and their mother don't really know half hour one in their life because the man and mother kind of don't really have the communication things. So sometimes the single mother thing sometimes can be rough. Yeah. So that could be one of the reasons why some of the children they misbehave, right? And then when things not working out, if you're working, I realize that the money maybe not reach for buy certain things, then maybe get frustrated. And as a single mother, sometimes when you get depressed and so on, depression kick in, it kind of hard for you to kind of the mother role there. If you kind of discipline the child the way you want to discipline the child as a real mother, right? And sometimes maybe some certain things might hinder you, like sometimes when you have disability and so, you know, sometimes the child might do certain things and you maybe not able to recognize or to pick up certain things, right? So they tend to, behave a certain way. And sometimes the behavior them kind of hard to correct because it's because you are alone and the child maybe know your weaknesses and then because you kind of give up on the child and so, yeah. Maybe put on your foot a little bit harder, maybe it won't reach such a stage. But then again, how you supposed to put on your foot when maybe I got through so much depression or stress or whatever it is that won't able to function like an effective parent. Alright, so that is I said no, and that is why I said no. The parents should not be charged. Alright, so yes, why they should charge parent because if sometimes our parents know that their child is doing certain things and they don't do anything, they put up with certain things. Like for example, if you have some parents, like for instance, if they send their children go to school and somebody might hit them and then come home and say to their mother, say, so and so hit me. The first thing they might tell the them, say, we have answer. You understand me? So enough for the child mind, the child maybe I go up and I think say, if somebody do you certain things, you have to do them back certain things. You understand me? They just tell the children like you can maybe walk away or trying to go in and then reach or whatever. You kind of add like negative vibes, and the vibes already, when the vibes already kind of negative. And you have a next set of parents, for instance, them have a say, no make nobody bully you or whatever. Like an eye for an eye or whatever. Them type of behavior there. They have some parents, they know that the child maybe take things that is not theirs, but the child take home certain things and tell them to return it, right? And after a while, when they can't do anything about it, then that's the time when they try to do something about it, when maybe they can't do anything about it. All right, so what are some of the solutions to these children behaving certain way? I don't know what is the solution, but I think the solution could be, if for instance, if the parents them get help or if the child gets help, because I think sometimes these children they are lacking something, whether they don't get, whether they think that nobody cares about them, nobody loves them. Maybe they go to school and they realize maybe teacher treat this child, always treat this child nice, and they never treat him nice. Or maybe your mother don't really treat you nice. Or you just think say mommy can buy you expensive, maybe shoes, when shoes not fit, so you become rebellious. Or you just think say your mother supposed to love you or to believe for you and them not believe you, so the child begin to act out. So what is the solution? I think that you can, the children them, I think if these children them, they kind of have somebody to love them. Even the parents, sometimes you want somebody to love you, like sometimes kind of pamper you. Find out what is it you're going through. Talk to the child or the parents. Sometimes you can, if you're at home, you can do things that kind of get you and the child together. Like maybe you can play a game. You don't have time when you might sit down and just talk. Just maybe talk about certain things. Well, not everything you're going to talk about, but you can find a safe place if you talk about certain things. Because everybody have a hidden secret way. Sometimes I wish you have somebody can talk, because sometimes there are times when you're going through certain things in your life and you just want somebody to talk to, but you just don't find nobody to talk to for whatever reason. You just can't find nobody to talk to, and then you kind of behave certain way because you just kind of act out because you don't have anybody to talk to. So I just think if you have a safe place where you can find somebody where you can talk to, then maybe the place will be a little bit better, right? And I just think if you allow the child to do certain things, not saying you must give them space, but sometimes you can tighten the rope a little bit and make it too slack. Know when to do this and when to do that, so you can have a better understanding. And not just make the child do that because the child want to do that. Let the child do it because it's the right thing for the child to do. Right? Show them a positive light. Act from a parent's point of view and not from a sister or brother point of view. You understand? And make the children understand, say, you care about them, and no matter what the situation, show them the positive and the true, the truth. I always say the truth is a offend. But no matter what, at least at the end of the day, you can say, all right, you did your best. You did your best. Right? You don't want the child to say, you never did it for them or whatever. You want them to say, yes, your mother was a mother and wasn't a sister or brother. And get help. Get help and pray. Prayer make a difference. So each voice makes a difference. Each voice makes a difference. You have to have that communication. I think when communication break down, then almost everything break down. Right? And I just think the next reason is because children are not going to church. Because church on Sunday they think you can't count the little put them by your finger away from my church. Some church are pay elderly person in the church, no young person. Yeah, say yeah. Reason why people are got church because some music not the day, or them not give the children them anything, or maybe them not like you, and the list goes on and on and on and on. But what about you? What are you doing? If yeah, you have some person you just can't talk to them. Like you have some church and you say to them say, put program in the place for the children, and them be like, no, they're not putting on program, but they want the children to come to school. Sunday school or church. So how are they going to come if they don't have anything to draw them? But if you if you in a your conscious self, not tell yourself say, no matter what, you go into church. Then you're not going nowhere. You understand me? And you're going to always make that be a problem because you find some reason for not going. You don't really have to go to church, go sing for the choir or whatever. No. You can just go there and just be yourself. Just be yourself. The most you can do is be yourself. And if you believe in yourself and believe in a God, when the time is right, you will you will be elevated. So now I watch what people are do or what people are do. I know where man say our God says. So if you decide to say I go to church and when the time is right, then the Lord will take you from wherever you are and put you to where you want to. Because but just think like for instance, if you're in a business and you don't really understand the business, there's no way. If you just enter in a business, there's no way you can get managerial position and you don't have a working experience. It's just like when you go to church. After you go to church over the years, you realize what is going on in church. So after a period of time, you can get your position. You can't just go to church so and get position and you don't have a clue what going on in a church. Yes, I'm just saying that children should get involved in church. I think some church that kind of lay out some kind of positive structure. You can't differentiate the persons there. When you go to some school or even some school itself, or even when you go on the road, you can differentiate sometime a person that go to church from a person don't go to church. You can see the kind of behavior. You can see the school them will kind of rule under certain churches, all the children them behave different from some school where don't rule under no church. You can see the type of behavior is just like just let loose. Everybody just then just loose. You understand me? Someone just thinks that if some of them children and that kind of get the exposure to from church, it kind of instill some form of discipline in them. But me just think because them not get the kind of exposure to church, that kind of discipline not in a no sets. So them just loose. I don't know if loose is the right word, but they are not organized. So they kind of behave certain way. When they go to church sometime, there are times at church when the church itself is quiet. You have that soft whatever. So you kind of learn to be quiet. You learn to adjust. You know that you learn the scriptures or whatever. They give you something to give you to uplift your should I say self-esteem. When you're there yeah, most of the time, you don't really have nothing to uplift your self-esteem. You don't really have nothing to work toward. If you understand me, I say when you're there at church, you know say you decide to go to church, you have to maybe look nice today. You know you have to go maybe remember the golden text. You know you maybe have to lead out. You know you know you have to take part in certain things. So it kinda give you the kinda yeah, to look forward to. So you kind of bring up that in a society, just like when you go to church and you go to school and you know, say, it kind of still give you that kind of values there. Fee, yeah, you understand. I know you get it. I know you get it, man. I think this is the last pointer. I think big people should leave children out of big people business. You have some children and everything big people are do them in it like them are big people. So them just thinking of themselves say them are big people. So them just decide say they are going to do what big people do. So I just think that it kind of hard for them now to fit in when they go to school or whatever, so then kind of give whoa holy trouble, guys. Welcome to my life, guys. I hope you have learned something, and remember, when you go to school, try and do your very best. Yeah, man, when the children come to school and tell us if they behave themselves, them think that because you know like them, when you tell them if they behave themselves, or when you see them in a society or in my church, and you tell them say, if you behave yourself, you know, if you listen to your mother, you know, or whosoever, once it is something positive. You say to them, say, if you behave yourself, you know, them things you don't like them. But me type of tell people say, if you never like a person, you will correct them. Because if you didn't like the person, I never want to see good out of them. You know, make them do whatever they want. So I say to a child, or even big people say, once a person correct you, and you know say something good them do, you're supposed to appreciate it. Because if them never want you go down the road there or slip or anything happen to you, them won't correct you. Guys, haha. I hope you have learned something. Yes, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning, the rest of your day. Stay positive and be safe. Okay, I'm gonna send my friend down in bed already. I work with the closet. It look like I'm planning to go to some party or something. So the topic tonight was, should parents be held responsible for their children act? And I guess it all depends. At some point in the life, you know, the child have got to take responsibility for their own act, you know. So no matter how you hear them say them are going to charge the parents them because of the children behavior. At some point, them are going to turn adult and themselves go responsible. I mean, no, say, even if your mother never did that grow you good, or your mother never did set no good example for you, I know you must go to school. I mean, no teacher must set some good principles. So I don't think of your mother alone. If you are a child and you know right from wrong, and no matter what your mother tell you say, no matter how your mother indulge you for the wrong things, I think you in a your conscious state supposed to know where right from wrong. What I'm saying is that the child himself decide to do wrong things. I just think it's a consciousness in them that decide to do certain things, right? You know, people only want to do, they want to be a part of certain things, why they do certain things, or when pressure reach them and them can't hold it no more, them lash out. You hear them say pressure bust pipe. Guys, it was nice. Anyway, people, I go brush my teeth. I'm brush my teeth, I go bed. Every night I go bed late, you know. Every night I go bed late, like every night. Guys, I hope you have learned something, and be blessed.